Damn phones, Babylons can't crack the code.
The 2022 transfer portal is the most players that have ever entered the portal before during a college football offseason. As every team, they were directly affected. It didn't matter what conference or how good a team was. Everyone was affected by the portal. And with how everyone is allowed a free transfer while they're in college, and NIL is a factor, it seems like the portal is going to keep on getting bigger and bigger as time goes on. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about college football players that entered the portal and have gone under the radar. And these are players that can make huge impacts on their teams in 2022. The first player that I'm going to be talking about in today's video may give me some flack down in the comment section below, but it is Auburn transfer, now Oregon quarterback Bo Nix. Bo Nix was a 3-year starting quarterback at Auburn, where in those 3 seasons, he was, to put it frankly, inconsistent. As in his career as a Tiger, he completed 59% of his passes, threw for 7,251 yards, 39 touchdowns to the air, 16 interceptions, and a total of 18 rushing touchdowns on the ground in his career. When talking about Bo Nix, he's a quarterback that nobody thinks is a top quarterback in college football, and although the potential may have seemed like he could potentially reach that level before he entered college, it really doesn't seem that way anymore just after a few seasons at Auburn. And by no means is he a bad quarterback, but he's also not the best quarterback, and he wasn't exactly the most consistent at Auburn. However, I do feel like he's kind of going under the radar. He has a good shot of starting for Oregon in 2022, and this could be the fresh start that Bo Nix needs to really revive his career and take it to the level where people thought it was going to be. And who knows, maybe all Bo Nix needed in his career was just a change of scenery. Is this going to be the year of the dark horse Bo Nix that's focused in having fun is yet to be seen. With this next player, it's a transfer that I feel like isn't really getting enough attention, and it's Oklahoma transfer to Stanford, Patrick Fields. Now, Patrick Fields was a 3-year starter at Oklahoma and an important player in that secondary for the Oklahoma Sooners while he was there, as he was a solid player and he brought a lot of leadership to the team. In his career as a Sooner, he racked up 201 total tackles, 12 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 3 interceptions, and 10 pass deflections. He's coming off a strong 21 campaign in which he recorded 80 total tackles, 5 tackles for loss, and 2 interceptions. Stanford is a team coming off a rough 21 campaign, but going into 2022, there is some hope in the program as they're returning some good pieces on that team, and some people think they can be a sneaky team in the Pac-12, and I think getting the addition of Patrick Fields to their team is going to do wonders in the long run, as he is a very smart player, he brings great leadership, and he has a ton of experience against some very good offenses. And something that will always help out any program in the nation is having a player that has been in leadership roles and has a lot of experience on the collegiate level. With this next player, it is yet again another quarterback, this time being Texas transfer to Nebraska, Casey Thompson. Now, Casey Thompson is coming off his first season of playing primarily a starting role for Texas, which was in 2021, and he played pretty well, especially when he was fully healthy, because later on in the later half of the season, Casey Thompson was battling through injury. However, he was still playing decent when hurt. In his time at Texas, he threw for a total of 2,422 yards, 30 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. In 2021, he threw for over 2,000 yards, had 24 touchdown passes to the air, 9 interceptions, and 4 rushing touchdowns. Casey showed a lot of flashes of being a good quarterback in 2021, and he definitely has a lot of potential. And Nebraska these last few years, they haven't been making it to bowl games, and they've been struggling overall, especially with Adrian Martinez at the helm of the quarterback 1 spot. And this is, to me, an upgrade in that position, and Casey Thompson could be that make it or break it piece that really pushes Nebraska football over the edge of some of those close losses they've had over the years. Sticking with the offensive side of the ball with this next transfer, from UTEP to Arizona, wide receiver Jacob Cowing. Now, Jacob Cowing had a good time at UTEP, as in his career there, he had 2,595 receiving yards, averaging an impressive 18 yards per reception and 13 touchdowns through the air. He is coming off his strongest season of his college football career, which was the 21 campaign, in which he recorded 69 receptions for 1,354 yards, averaging nearly 20 yards a reception and 7 touchdowns. Now, Jacob is a big-time player, and he had a lot of top offers coming into the portal to be a top guy at some of the top programs in the nation. However, he decided to kind of do something out of the ordinary and go to a program like Arizona, which has been a bottom dweller on the FBS level these last few seasons. When people talk about some of the top players in this portal class, I feel like you have to bring up Jacob Cowing, as he was an electric player at UTEP, and I really believe he's going to do something special to Arizona and really help bring up Arizona's program where it's kind of been these last few years and bring it up together with the other impressive transfers that they brought in for this 2022 class. And I think Arizona could be starting something special for the future to build off of on this 22 season, and Jacob's going to be a part of it. On to the next player, interior defensive lineman Jaxon Player, who transferred from Tulsa to Baylor. Now, everyone knows that Baylor has one of the stoutest defensive lines in college football, and one that was not only one of the best last season, but you can definitely expect to be one of the best this season. And they just added a player that can do wonders not only for their D-line, but their defense in Jaxon Player. Jaxon Player was a star at Tulsa, having 138 career tackles, 31 tackles for loss, 8 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles, and he's coming off a magnificent 21 campaign in which he recorded 50 total tackles, 15 tackles for loss, and 5 sacks for an interior defensive lineman. Player is a kind of guy that any team could use on their defense, and everyone knows that Baylor, they have a defensive head coach in Dave Aranda, and their defense is going to be deadly. And having a player like Jaxon Player is going to not only make this D-line even scarier, but it's going to definitely make it a top 10 defensive line in college football, and one that everyone needs to watch out for on a week-to-week basis. Sticking with defense, we're going to be taking a look at defensive back CJ Coldon, Wyoming to Oklahoma transfer. Coldon is a player that was very important to not only Wyoming's defense, but their secondary while he was there. In his career at Wyoming, he racked up 115 total tackles, 6.5 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 2 interceptions, and 16 pass deflections. He is coming off his strongest season, in which in 2021, he recorded 67 total tackles, 4.5 tackles for loss, 1 sack, and 10 pass deflections. That is a great season, and he solidified himself as one of the best secondary players in the Mountain West Conference. Coldon is joining a Sooners team that is hungry after losing their coach Lincoln Riley, and they have defensive head coach Brent Venables now as their head ball coach. This is a pretty interesting team to watch, and I believe Coldon will play a big role in their secondary, and you can keep a lookout on the Sooners to have an entirely new defense, one that is a lot better than it's been these past few years under the Mike Stoops regime and the Alex Grinch regime, and this is one you can expect to shock a lot of people with how good the talent at Oklahoma on their defensive side of the ball really is. And you can expect Coldon to be a very big part of that secondary. On to the last player that I have in today's video. It is Oklahoma State to Nevada transfer, quarterback Shane Illingworth. Now, Shane Illingworth spent a total of 2 seasons at Oklahoma State, where he played in a total of 6 games, primarily as a backup, but he did start in a couple, and in his career as a Cowboy, he completed nearly 58% of his passes, threw for 939 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. And this is a quarterback that was hyped up going to Oklahoma State, as there was a belief that he was going to be the next great Oklahoma State quarterback after Spencer Sanders was done. Spencer Sanders is still at Oklahoma State, and since he came back for the 22 season and he could potentially come back for 2023, Shane Illingworth took it as a sign that he needed to seek greener pastures and get a better opportunity for him So he went to Nevada, and this is a big opportunity for Shane Illingworth to be a starting quarterback, as Nevada is not only losing one of the top quarterbacks last season in Carson Strong, and it's leaving a big hole in their offense. He was one that was a starter the past few seasons for them, and he was really key to their passing offense. And honestly, I see a lot of similarities in Shane Illingworth's game and Carson Strong's, and I believe Illingworth will be the starter in 2022 for the Wolfpack, and I feel like you can expect a big season for him since he really does fit their offense, and he kind of has a similar play style to Carson Strong. Well guys, if you made it this far in the video, drop something down in the comment section below. What other underrated and under the radar transfer is there that you think is going to make some noise in 2022? And before you head out, remember to smash that like button, turn on those post notifications, and subscribe if you haven't already. Be Helly out.